A lot of shit has been happening in Iran again. So in Iran, there was a soldier who died, and he was literally, or she was literally days of way from leaving. It's a never-ending war. It's Palestinians anxious. Israeli military spokesman. Where was it? Venezuela holds solidarity march for Iran. What was I looking for? Yeah, the UN says the humanitarian fallout in the Middle East is increasingly daunting, and the UN said that the strike on a school. Yes, there it is. UN says a parent strike on girls' school in Iran may be a war crime. You know the school that the Israeli U.S. duo struck. Yeah, looks like that's probably a war crime, which not surprising. Um, the thing is, like, we'll never be held accountable for it until, like, obviously, if Democrats get in power and they can actually have a backbone. But there is a lot going. I mean, Iran's just a constantly updating situation, obviously, but France sent their nuclear powered submarine, or not submarine, but where was France? Yeah, nuclear powered aircraft carrier heads to the Mediterranean to help protect Allied assets. Pre-recorded speech, Macron added that Rafale fighter jets, air defense systems, and airborne radar systems have been deployed over the past few hours in the Middle East. It is not great.
So they're getting hit very hard, and we'll see what happens. A lot of people are coming forward. A lot of the people you would least suspect want to quit. They want to have immunity. They're asking for immunity, and probably at some point they'll be dropping, as you would say, laying down their guns. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, we're just continuing to go forward. Our military is the number one.
His teeth look like shit, by the way.
And we are. Everything's big in my book. Venezuela was big. This is big. The original hit, Midnight Hammer, was big. Everything you view is big, but it's not considered very big by some standards, by some of our standards. We have a military like no other military that's ever been built.
What's the worst case scenario that you have planned for in Iran?
Well, I don't know if there's a worst case. We have them very much.
And the fact that, I mean, I don't know if there's actually somebody stepping up to say, like, hey, I'll take over. I don't think they'd be saying it for no reason, but, like, it doesn't look like this is ending anytime soon.
Militarily, from the military standpoint, they're still lobbing some missiles. At some point, they won't even be able to do that because we're hitting all of their carriers. We're hitting all of their missile stock. You know, they built up all these missiles over the last few years. They had a lot of them. They've shot a lot of them, and we're knocking out a lot. I guess the worst case would be we do this, and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. We don't want that to happen. That would probably be the worst. You go through this, and then in 5 years you realize you put somebody in who was no better. So we'd like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people. And we'll see what happens with the people. You know, they have their chance. And we've said, don't do it yet. If you're going to go out and protest, don't do it yet. It's very dangerous out there. A lot of bombs are being dropped. But I would say that would be about the worst.
Do you have someone in mind right now? So you said all the people you did have in mind have been taken out.
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. So, you know, we had some.
And the thing about it is, even with those people dead, it's not... no country, like, at the end of the day, no group of people enjoys their country being invaded by a foreign power.
From that group that is dead. And now we have another group. They may be dead also, based on reports. So I guess you have a third wave coming in. Pretty soon we're not going to know anybody. But we have, I mean, Venezuela was so incredible because we did the attack and we kept government totally intact. And we have Delcy, who's been very good. We have the whole chain of command, and they've been, you know, the relationship's been great. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil already. And a big part of that goes to them, and a big part goes to us. And it's been great. We paid for the war many times over, and we're going to be running the oil. And Venezuela's going to make more money than they ever made, and that's great for the people. The relationship has been great. It's been seamless. nobody's actually ever seen anything like it. If you look
Meanwhile,
at
no, like,
where very stupidly
interim
everybody was fired.
president.
The generals were fired, the military was fired, the police were fired, the fire departments were fired, and all of the government workers were fired. So after, people would call, they had no idea. And by the way, ISIS was formed. That's where ISIS came from. All of the fired people. We don't believe in that. So we'll see what happens. But first we have to finish off the military.
What do you think? Crown Prince versus Pahlavi. Is he an option at all in your mind?
I guess he is. Some people like him, and we haven't been thinking about too much about that. It would seem to me that somebody from within maybe would be more appropriate. I've said that. He looks like a very
God,
nice
Gold
person.
is so tacky
Interested
too.
in GLP?
No, I'm not. Fuck off. I really need to get a good ad blocker. Also,
It would seem to me that somebody that's there.
Hold on, I'll let him
that's
speak.
Currently
And then I'll
popular,
yap.
if there's such a person. But we have people like that. We have people that were more moderate. These were radical lunatics, and you know what they get? They get nothing. All they do is kill people.
Exactly was the
You've asked, so not your turn. Not your turn, please.
God damn!
Are you going to take the heat off the Europeans to potentially help you, Mark Rutte, call on the allies to also help you?
What does that mean?
Well, you have to ask Mark Rutte if he says not as part of NATO, but to be helpful.
North Africa's not coming out and saying anything specifically, by the way, in support, like Northern African supportive countries of Iran typically.
Well, some of the European nations have been helpful, and some haven't. And I'm, very surprised. Germany's been great. He's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases. And that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it. But we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would agree to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain. And I'm not. By the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. That island that you read about, the lease, okay, he made, for whatever reason, he made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him. And it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we were very surprised. This is...
Yeah, Europe isn't a huge supporter of this, but a lot of them are kowtowing, obviously, to the U.S., especially like more far right-leaning governments like Germany. Additionally, China has air defenses over Iran.
The breaking news from all angles. Former Secretary of State under Trump, Mike Pompeo.
See, like, this is the difference between Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran. Afghanistan and Iraq, completely depleted governments, no money, no true defensive force. Iran, it's a fucking fortress, surrounded on all sides by mountains and hills. You'll never be able to land troops there because everything is cordored off by big valleys and deep trenches. You don't have flat desert to just invade the country with.
Meet moments away. Trey Yinks will have the latest from the ground in Tel Aviv. Let's begin with Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Jennifer.
Harris, President Trump said last night this operation could last 4 weeks or less. The Pentagon did not want to put a timeline on it. It's been 60 hours of nonstop combat. The Pentagon says more than 1,000 targets were hit in the first 24 hours. But the most significant news to come out of the Pentagon briefing this morning was when General Dan Kane said that they had achieved air superiority. That means they have suppressed all of the Russian and Chinese-made air defense systems in less than 3 days. They did not hold up to U.S. stealth fighter jets and their precision missiles. Now those U.S. and Israeli warplanes can hunt down the mobile missile launchers that are terrorizing the Gulf states. At the press conference today, General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, went through a TikTok of when the president gave the go-ahead, 3:38 p.m. on Friday, just minutes before landing in Corpus Christi, Texas. Major combat operations began early Saturday at 01:15 Eastern Daylight Time, Dan Kane said, when it was 9:45 a.m. in Tehran.
The first movers were U.S. Cybercom and U.S. Spacecom, layering non-kinetic effects, disrupting and degrading and blinding Iran's ability to see, communicate, and respond. It was a daylight strike based on a trigger event conducted by the Israeli Defense Forces, enabled by the U.S. intelligence community. The first shooters at sea were Tomahawks unleashed by the United States Navy, closed in on Iranian naval forces, and began to conduct strikes across the southern flank in Iran.
General Kane said more U.S. forces are flowing into the region. Secretary Hegseth would not rule out having U.S. troops on the ground in Iran. He didn't say it, but most likely he was referring to elite special operations units. The secretary said the 4
We will be in Iran for 20 years. The people who are starting this war will be long dead before we see the end of it. Long, long dead. Because even if we pull out, Democrat comes in power and we pull out right now, it does not fix anything.
U.S. troops killed yesterday took a direct hit to the tactical operations center that they were manning and took offense when reporters asked him to articulate why the American people are sending their men and women to war and if he's concerned about it spiraling into a longer war.
Did you not hear my remarks? We're ensuring the mission gets accomplished, but we're very clear-eyed, as the president has been, unlike other presidents.
God, I fucking hate Pete Hegseth so
about
fucking much.
The foolish policies of the past that recklessly pulled us in to things that were not tethered to actual clear objectives.
They gave few details about the 3 American F-15s and 6 pilots who were shot down by Kuwaiti-friendly fire. All are safe.
This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes.
The secretary said this war is not about regime change, even though the president called on the Iranians to rise up and remove the regime and has been very happy that 49 Iranian leaders were taken out in that first strike. The question is, how are unarmed Iranian civilians expected to overthrow Iran's vast security forces? And is this success if the same regime stays in place after this war ends? One question that was shouted at the end and left unanswered, how do you keep this from becoming an insurgency? Harris?
Jennifer, real quickly, before I let you go, also at that last news conference we were watching.
When you shut down the government and the military doesn't get paid anymore, guess where those military grade weapons go to? Insurgency groups. Top U.S. military commander severely degraded Iran's air defenses. Cooper noted that Iran, we've just begun. And then all this accumulating in fucking gas prices going up, dude. Never stop blaming Trump. Never stop blaming Republicans and Democrats for any of this shit. Sell stocks. So S&P sunk 9% and then went down to 2.5. Dow Jones dropped 0.8. Which then lost all the way to 1. And then oil did not jump too high. On Tuesday, oil prices rose again, raised more alarms for the price of barrel. Brent crude, the international standard, briefly leaped above $84. Settled at $81. But that's fucking expensive. They're going to find any reason to raise these prices on people. Tuesday sell-off started in Asia and then stock market in Dubai is back up. Tokyo dropped 3.1%. France's CAC lost 3.5%. Yeah, war causes the global economy to take a dip. Shit like this anytime that there's a war in the Middle East that affects oil prices, the entire global economy takes a dip. And Democrats... this is the easiest win for Democrats, and they're just not taking it. Just no. We're just going to let them invade the Middle East, not call it blatantly illegal, and call for his arrest. Just no, we're not going to do that. I don't get it. I don't get why the Democrats are so afraid of calling this what it is.